When I met Brad Sugars in the year 2001, the most valuable lesson that I got from him, because I was in sales 10 years before I started this business, and I was one of those guys that thought I knew everything. Anyone else in the room like that? Okay, no one admits it. And the reason I thought I knew everything is because I went to every sales and marketing seminar I could possibly go to. Because when I was younger, when I started in sales, I learned something. What I learned is every time I learned something about sales, my conversion rate went up and my sales improved, and I made more money. So every time I went to a seminar, I said, this is an investment. I pay $500 to go for the day. Over the next year, I'll make a couple of thousand. Pretty good, huh? So then I met this guy, Brad, and he said, you know what, I'm going to show you all these things about business, and I'm going to teach you about business, and I'm going, yeah, I know. I know about sales, I know about marketing, I know all about this stuff. And then he taught me about some interesting things, and I was page 22. And he started off by saying, you know, the most important thing about business is to make a what? Profit. But down the bottom of the page he put profit. The next thing he said, he asked the question, where does profit come from? It comes from margin. Where does margin come from? You guys are good. Is this in there? Is there some cheat notes in there?
No, just this, the first letter.
The first letter. So turnover, this makes sense. Turnover multiplied by margin equals profit. Profit we know because the profit and loss tells us, right? Turnover we know because the profit and loss tells us. Where's turnover come from? Ah, it's trickier now. Sorry? Starts with A. Okay. So where turnover comes from is a thing called customers. Customers spend money with us. But there's a couple of variables in here. Customers spend money with us a couple of ways. First of all, they spend with us several times, which will be the number of transactions. And the second thing is the average dollar sale. Okay? Everyone with me so far? So average dollar sale is what? How much a customer spends on average? Right, if one customer spends $50, one that spends $500, what's my average? It's around $250, right? Everyone get that? That's a number we can work out. Number of transactions, that's about how many times they come back. Lifetime value. Make sense so far? Where do customers come from? Leads. Multiplied by a thing called conversion. So he puts this up on the board and I go, yeah, well you haven't told me anything new. I understand you need leads and you sell to those guys, they convert, they turn to customers. Everyone make sense of this so far? Yep. Simple. So then he puts some numbers in here, and you might want to do this in your notes as well. So let's assume we're just measuring, we're testing and measuring in this company now, and we count the number of leads that come in, and we work out that this particular company gets 4,000 leads per year. And we're also pretty good, we measure how many of those turn into clients, and we know what our conversion rate is. Everyone understands conversion rate? And we know our conversion rate is 25%. So what's 25% of 4,000? Easy, huh? So 1,000 customers. Now we also measure how often they come back, and we know that they come back twice a year. Measure it. And we also know that the average dollar sale is $100. So the turnover of that business? 200,000. Now we look at our profit and loss, and we know that we make a profit margin of 25%. Pretty good business, not in IT. And so 25% of 200,000 is 50,000. Everyone understands how I got that figure? Yep. Okay. So, this is all boring to me, and I said, yeah, get all that. That doesn't make any difference. I understand. Now, we're going to go to work on this business over a 12-month period. Now, I want you to think about your business. Over 12 months, we're going to look at your lead generation strategies. We're going to start testing and measuring each one of them, and we're going to make sure that you have multiple lead generation strategies and they're effective. Do you think if we focused on that for 12 months, we could increase your number of leads by 10%? Yep. 10%? Easy? Yep. Anyone think it would be hard?
Yeah.
So what's 10% increase going to give me in profit? 10% increase, right?
Yep.
But let's go this way. So 10% more leads on 4,000 is? Yeah, that's no big deal. 10% increase there is pretty cool. So what's conversion rate about? How do we go about increasing conversion rate?
Guarantees.
Guarantees, definitely. Unique selling proposition, definitely. Niche, definitely. Sorry? Targeted leads, definitely. What else? Sales training, right? Just, there's lots and lots of different ways to improve conversion rate if we focus on it, true? Yep. Okay. Now, if I said to you, I want to increase your conversion rate in your business by 10% over the next 12 months, by focusing on it, do you think that's easy or hard? Yep. Easy. I don't want to go from 25 to 35, I just want to go from 25 to 27.5%. Fairly straightforward? Yep. Everyone think that would be easy in their business? Yep. Okay. What's 4,400 times 27.5%? A bit more than 1,000.
Yeah.
Maybe. It's a very, very interesting number. This is where he got my attention. Because that's not a 10% increase. It's not even a 20% increase. It's a 21% increase. How did I get a 21% increase here from two 10% increases there? Does anyone know? Right, there's a thing called compound interest. Who's heard of that one before? Right. I used to think it was only for investment. I didn't realise you could use it for marketing. I want you to think about the ramification of this. I could have done a 20% increase in just leads. That would have produced 20%. By doing 10% in two areas, I've got a compound effect, which has given me an extra 10 clients for free. Everyone get this? Mm-hmm. It's interesting, huh? All right, so there's compounding going on here. This is pretty cool. So let's talk about transactions. So if I'm getting 2 transactions a year out of my clients, what's the easiest way to get more? How do I get clients to come back? Simple than that. Maybe I could ask them to come back. It's a novel concept, right? I could ask them to come back. Because here's the irony. People say, oh, no, we need to advertise more. Okay, great. What about your existing customers? Well, they know we exist. If they want us, they come back, right? Wrong. They don't just come back. If I ask them to come back, do you think there's a chance they will come back?
Yes.
Possible, right? So I ask them to come back. How do I do it?
Take them to the footy.
Coupon? What else?
Have an existing customers night.
Yep.
Special night.
Even simpler than that.
Come on.
Bring them. Hi, how you going? Haven't seen you for a while. Any chance of getting you come back? You can have a customer night. You could do a newsletter. You could do a promotional campaign. You could send a letter. There's a lot of different ways to get clients to come back. Here's a statistical fact. It costs 6 times more to get a new customer than it does to get an existing customer to come back. And how many people have strategies in place to do this? I'll show you. Just 1, 2. Not many. This is 6 times cheaper than that. And you know what the nice thing about getting people to come back is? It's a lot easier sale, isn't it? Because the first sale, they're checking you out first, and then they're buying your product. The second sale, they already know you. All they need to do is pick the next product.
And they trust you.
And they trust you. But most people don't see this as marketing, they see this as marketing. Interesting, huh? So here, I want you to think about this. Is it possible in your business to increase transactions by 10%? Yep, over the next 12 months.
Yep.
A newsletter in place maybe, ring some people, have a party, whatever you like. Is it possible? Yes. So we go from 2 to 2.2. Let's talk about average dollar sale for a minute. What's the easiest way to increase that one? Average dollar sale. Actually, let me ask a better question. Who are the kings? Who are the kings of average dollar sale?
McDonald's.
McDonald's.
Footy distributors.
Footy distributors too. What do McDonald's do to increase average dollar sale? Who said to you what fries with that? Okay, when was the last time they used that sentence? This will scare you.
20 years.
Nearly 20 years ago. They haven't asked that question for nearly 20 years. Why?
Don't need to. You already
Because
know.
they sell meal deals. They do 2 upsells. Not just would you like fries with that, they do it in a meal deal.
So do you want a combo?
They don't even ask. Look at the menu.
What size do you want?
The menu is predominantly meal deals. They assume you're going to buy 3 things. They do the upsell immediately before you even think about it. You don't even know. What's the next upsell they do? Because they've just done 2. What's the next
How
one?
big?
Upsize. 3 upsells. What's the next thing they do?
Make the product smaller.
What's the next thing? What's that? Would you like an apple pie with that? There's 4 upsells. They do 4 upsells you don't even know.
It's going to be war tomorrow.
How many people in this room have got an upsell strategy? I'll give you a very simple example. We worked with a hardware store one time. Who's painted their house recently? Okay, here's how it goes. You go to the paint store and you shop around for paint based on price. True? Find a good price for the good paint, you buy it. You go home, you open up the garage, you clean through all, and you find the brushes and the rollers, and you realise the rollers are all deteriorating, and you need new rollers. Go back to the paint store and you buy some rollers, you get back to the house, you start painting. Oh, bugger, I've run out of drop sheets. What do you do next? Back to the paint store, get some drop sheets. Right? Now you're getting up to painting in the corners and you realise that you don't have a corner brush. What do you do at this stage?
Give up and calling the professional painters.
You either do that or you don't go back to the paint store because you're a bit embarrassed now. So you now go to Bunnings instead. So what we do with this paint store is we create a little thing called a checklist. Write this down in your blinding flash of the obvious, you'll get it in a minute. And we put this checklist on the front counter. And so the salespeople behind the counter, as soon as they saw someone walk up with a tin of paint, they said, fantastic. So you're painting something, right? No. Well, just so we could help you best, we devised this checklist of all the things you may need to paint your house. Is it okay if we quickly go through it with you? Do you have drop sheets? Do you have a stirring rod? Do you have this? Do you have that? Yeah, etc., etc. Now here's my question. Where do you think they make more profit percentage-wise? In the paint?
No.
In all the add-ons?
Yeah.
Rollers.
So what happened to the profitability of this business, do you think, by doing upsells? Goes through the roof. Now here's the case, right? Most small business owners are so busy trying to keep up with the demand for their time, they don't have time to do an upsell. They don't have a strategy in place, so they don't do an upsell. If we put a checklist in place in your business, do you think we could increase that one by 10%? It's $110. Any maths whizzes in the room? 110 times 2.2 times 1,210 clients.
Anybody?
I'm not let them off phone on.
No, you're not. Here's the turnover of this business right at this point in time, 292,820. So, let's talk about profit margin for a minute. We haven't finished yet. Is this sounding okay at the moment? Okay, gets better. So, what's the easiest way to increase profit margin? It's price up. Who hasn't put their prices up for the past 12 months in this room? Alright, you're insane. Because, who's got the biggest fear about price increase? You or your client? You do. What happens if they go? Well, how about this? Why don't you measure your conversion rate, then increase your price and see if it changes? Because if it doesn't change, then you've been leaving a lot of money on the table. Who doesn't get any price objection in their business at all? Oh, okay. Because I was going to say, if no one complains about your price, you're too cheap. No one complains about your price, you're too cheap. Does that? People should be complaining about your price. I don't teach people to be the cheapest. I teach them to be the dearest. Why would you want to be the dearest? Because yours considered the best. You make a lot of profit. And remember, clients still choose to pay. So you better have a lot of value. Make sense? So we increase our price. Let's say we work on that in your business. We increase it by 10%. Has anyone done this? Who's been to one of these seminars before like this? No one. Okay. Here's what I suggest. I dare some of you to do this tomorrow morning when you go back to work. Increase your prices by 10%. I dare you to do it. Not to your existing customers, to new clients. Do it for 3 quotes. And watch what happens here. Because if this doesn't change, guess what? You've just increased your profit by 10% and you don't have to do 1 ounce more work. But if you don't test and measure it, you don't know what's going to happen. It's dangerous, isn't it? So some people are going to do it. I'll tell you what's happened in experience. Those people that have done this, I ask them when I see them 6 months later what happened, and they go, "Did people complain? Did you lose any business?" No. Because the person with the price objection issue is you. You fear what's going to happen. Is that everyone with me? So I'm going to go for 27.5% here, which means my new profit margin is going to be $80,525.50. Is that exciting yet? Is that interesting? Okay, so here's what's happened. We've done 4 10% increases there, 1 10% increase here. 50% increase. We got a 61% increase in our profit. Who'd like to have a 61% increase in their profit over the next 12 months? Right, here's the irony. Every one of these I asked you, easy or hard to do over the next 12 months for your business, everyone said, easy. So it's easy to get a 61% increase in profit. It's easy. So why aren't people doing it? Let's go back to that one, shall we? Oh, do I have to go back? I'll tell you why they're not doing it. Because first of all, they're not focused on these things. They don't have their goals clear. Because imagine instead of just asking for a revenue goal, I said set a goal for conversion rate, set a goal for transactions, set a goal for average dollar sale, and set a goal for profit margin. If you started focusing on those things, do you think that your business would grow substantially? Yep. Yeah. But the problem is we don't have time. Well, we have the same amount of time, we just don't have priorities. Because we don't have goals. So can you see how it all ties together? Interesting?
Yeah.